Travelogue is going to Turkey. Turkey. It's a place that's held my fascination for years, and so I was quite happy to fly halfway around the world to arrive at the former capital, Istanbul. The city straddles two continents, Europe and Asia, and its erstwhile name of Constantinople conjures up images of romance and epic battles. Today, Istanbul's skyline is a glorious confusion of old and new. This huge metropolis, with its 13 million strong population, is the start of our exciting adventure in Turkey. You see that? Welcome to Asia. I've taken 5 steps and now I'm in Europe. This is the only place in the entire world where you can do that. But it was also the place that was the start and end of the Silk Road. And it's home to legends like Troy, King Midas and Alexander the Great. This is a country that's so beautiful, it will make you laugh and it will make you cry. Welcome to Turkey. Now, Turkey's history is mind-boggling in its complexity. So my suggestion, begin your journey in the old part of Istanbul. You can walk there or catch a tram. Day number 1, and we're in the Sultan Ahmet area, which is the old part of town, and probably the most visited because we've got the Topkapı Palace, the Hagia Sophia, and the Blue Mosque over there, so 3 birds with 1 stone. Istanbul is inevitably associated with the pleasure-loving sultans of the Ottoman Empire. You get a sense of their opulent lifestyle as soon as you enter through the imperial gate. The palace was built in the 15th century by Mehmet the Conqueror after he captured Constantinople. He conceived it as a series of 4 lavishly decorated courtyards. The first courtyard was open to all, but the second was strictly for business. Here, the Sultan held audiences with the subjects and performed his ceremonial duties. Actual meetings of state took place instead in the Imperial Council chamber. If the Sultan had time, he'd attend the meetings, but later Sultans cleverly installed a grill above the room, behind which they could eavesdrop. Although most of the time, they were actually in the harem, frolicking with beautiful ladies. Completely understandable. You'll also notice the chimney-lined palace kitchens. These could accommodate up to 1,000 staff. Talk about excess. Apparently, this sword may or may not have belonged to the founder of the Ottoman Empire, but I like to think it did belong to him. But it's a pretty impressive broadsword. I can't quite imagine how he could have carried it into battle, but still, this is very appropriate for the founder of the Ottoman Empire. The treasury houses many jewel-encrusted items gifted to the sultans, including an 86-carat diamond. No, ladies, it's not for sale. The 2 courts we saw outside was pretty much public domain, but once we pass this point, the public world separates from the private world. And here is the private world of the Sultan, where whatever happens here stays here. The palace was a maze of secrets. Only the Sultan's family and his most important servants could enter the 3rd court. It was home to the harem, to the imperial families, and of course, the Sultan's many concubines. The 4th court was reserved solely for the Sultan. It was his back garden and a place for him to get away from the pressures of controlling such a vast empire. This is it. The innermost court of the Topkapı Palace, the private playground and retreat of the Sultan and his family. but oh, this is such an incredible view. You've got a massive panoramic view of his entire empire. Europe on this side, and across the Bosphorus, the mighty continent of Asia. Just down the street from the Topkapi Palace is the granddaddy of Istanbul, the Hagia Sophia. Initially built as a basilica in the 4th century, it heralded a new beginning for the Byzantine Roman Empire. What you see today is the 3rd version of the building. It later changed to a mosque and has now become a museum. But wait till you see inside. Man, look at all of this. This is pretty incredible, but I've not looked down since coming in. I'm not going to stop. But there's just so much. It's kind of all coming at you from every single different direction. It's kind of like looking at the Milky Way. On the wall above, you'll find something very interesting. There are 4 angels, but only one of them has a face. The Ottomans could not have icons in their mosque, so they simply plastered over the Christian mosaics. It was either that or scratch them out. Minarets and Quranic decorations were added, but the overall structure stayed the same. And just like Istanbul, peel off one layer of the Hagia Sophia and you'll discover a new face of history right underneath. I think that's probably the best example of how Hagia Sophia is built upon layers of itself. Because if you look at the top, this golden bit is from the Ottoman era, but right underneath the bit that's cracked off is revealing paints from the original Byzantine Empire church built 1500 years ago. Very impressive stuff. Right, so the Hagia Sophia is over there, so is the Topkapi Palace. The Sea of Marmara is back down that way, and I'm going to head over there, which is the Blue Mosque. The Blue Mosque is all about ambition. It was designed by a student of Mimar Sinan, the greatest architect of the Ottoman period, and built 400 years ago. Controversially, it had 6 minarets, the same number as the Kaaba in Mecca, the most sacred site in Islam. Whereas the Hagia Sophia stuns with its interior, the Blue Mosque wows with its exterior. To this day, the Blue Mosque is as much a world-renowned tourist site as it is a place of worship. I think this place is really quite different to the Hagia Sophia. I mean, when you go into the Hagia Sophia, you get all of these designs that jump out at you and try to grab your attention. But when you come here, everything makes you focus your attention on yourself. And when you sit down, you feel like you can really become calm, and I guess it helps you to find inner peace. But why was it called the Blue Mosque? Well, it gets its name from the 20,000 ceramic tiles lining its walls. These were handcrafted and very expensive. Many of the colours you see today are as vibrant as they were 400 years ago. Morning! So, day 2, and after visiting the old part of Istanbul, it's time to check out what the rest of the city has to offer.
I think I want to take a tour of the Bosphorus, a cruise, so let's see what we have here. Oh, this is where we are, and this Bosphorus tour is going to take us up over there, around the Bosphorus, and back down again. It's going to be 1.5 hours, so should have plenty of time, but what I'm most interested in is the fact that I get to see both Asia and Europe. So, let me go sort out the price.
The Sea of Marmara. Can there ever be a more beautiful sight? Both the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles feed this turquoise sea. Coupled with the gorgeous summer weather, it makes Istanbul feel more like a beach resort than an urban metropolis.
Oh man, what an absolutely amazing view. I've got Asia behind me, and over there in front is Europe. But honestly, this is probably the only place in the entire world where you can do this, where you can be in the middle of 2 giant continents. But seriously, this is the best 12 Turkish lira I've ever spent. Look at that. Look at all those villas and private yachts down there. We just passed them over there as well, but this is the Asian side of Istanbul, and I swear there are some very, very rich people here. We passed some probably $1 million places, and well, one of these days when I do strike it, Rick, I'll be sure to move to Istanbul.
Nothing else to be said. Come and enjoy this for yourself. Of course, it's not just boats and people that inhabit this part of the Bosphorus. Amateur fishermen line the sides of the Galata Bridge, and they're often happy to let you have a try.
Look at that, that's the product of my hard work, this lovely little fish over here. But what I was saying is, I love the fact that you've got these amateur fishermen just kind of fishing here on the bridge, and then over there you've got fresh fish that people are buying on those little rickety boats. But this is a really nice kind of lifestyle. It shows you that people here know how to enjoy life.
It's a rare treat to be able to take a cruise, catch some fish, and tuck into a fish sandwich all at the same place. These go for 4 lira each, that's €2, and are a favourite with the locals. I quite like them too.
Oh, very good.
Try the fish, you won't be disappointed. Across the Golden Horn on the north side of town is the Galata district. Its landmark, the Galata Tower. It was built by the Genoese, and like this tower, this district feels different, a more traditional affair. Life here appears to be more leisurely, and tourists and locals take pleasure in more modest pursuits. A great place to unwind and get away from the frenzy just south of the bridge.
It's the old Orient Express herself.
Once the epitome of luxury and sophistication, the long-distance Orient Express will carry its well-to-do passengers all the way from Paris to Istanbul. In those days, Istanbul was Asia, and excited upper-class Europeans would travel down this route to see for themselves the exotic East. Things are a little different now, but incredibly, the train is still running. This is the place that Agatha Christie wrote about in Murder on the Orient Express. Really makes you wonder. Makes you remember the film as well. Maybe those people over there would do it. Right, time for something more sensible. I'm heading to a cultural centre to see the famous Sufi worship ceremony. Sufism is a mystical form of Islam, and these whirling dervishes believe that by spinning their bodies, a form of meditation, they can get closer to Allah, their arms literally forming a bridge to God. If all that spinning's made you a bit dizzy, I know the perfect treat to perk you right up. Turkish delight, or lokum as the locals call it, comes in dozens of varieties, all of them looking just as good as they taste. They're often very nutritious, packed with walnuts, almonds, and all sorts of things I can't name. But as for me, I'm going to call it a day. Our last day in Istanbul, and I want to get a taste of what modern life here is all about. So I've asked my guide Altan to show me around. Wow, what can I say? This has got to be the nicest view in all of Istanbul. We're actually on the highest building in Europe. These two guys are the ones who made it possible. Hi. The lovely Mr. Hassan. Hi. And our lovely guide Mr. Altan. Only from up here do you realise what an incredible mix of old and new Istanbul is. Red top houses and fiberglass skyscrapers sitting side by side. Enough food for the eyes, Altan's going to take me for a quick fix of kufta, or meatballs. They're just not as round as I expected, but they smell absolutely delicious.
Mainly, before we start to eat, we just cut half, and then get some sauce, and then make it like ready for tasteful meatballs.
Right.
I've also got meatballs as well. Right? You got like meatballs, and you also have like steak here.
Nice.
And then also you got like with cheese, cheddar.
So even though we don't have any beer, I'm still going to toast you. So cheers, man.
My belly's full, but I've still got room for dessert. I've heard the world's first cafe was actually open in Istanbul, so I'm very excited to be going for a cup of brew. Only, this one's a bit different. I'm going to get my fortune told, using coffee. And this lovely lady has my fate in her hands. My palms are sweating already.
Right now, start to shake it first, like this. And then,
1, 2, 3, okay.
and then
It's okay?
go like that.
Yeah.
Well done. Just leave it on the table.
I'm very nervous.
You don't have to be nervous. It's something good. But so right now we are going to wait for the pot to get cooled down.
Tiran.
Right.
Of course I'm not going to tell you what she said, but I will say that she was surprisingly accurate, scarily so, considering she knew more about me than my best friend, just by looking at coffee residue. You really ought to get yours done too. Feeling a bit shaken, I head to the 600-year-old Grand Bazaar for a bit of retail therapy.
There are so many people here. This place is absolutely packed with shops, over 4,000 shops actually. 18 entrances and exits, lots and lots of people. I don't really know where to go, so I'm going to head down that way.
There is one thing you should get, the evil eye. Called an azar, it's a charm that protects you from jealousy or envy, and it's everywhere in the circuit. With so many things on offer, it's hard to make a decision, but one thing caught my eye.
How much for this?
For example, this one?
Yeah.
120 lira, my friend. This is copper.
120 lira?
Yeah, this is
about 50 lira. This is my last day.
This is the cash.
That's a good tip for you. Always start off low, maybe even below half point, and then you can get it for a lot cheaper.
My final stop is Taksim Square, the hip new heart of Istanbul. Many of the city's residents come here at night. This buzzing, pedestrianised street is the equivalent of Beijing's Wangfutian or Regent Street in London. With literally hundreds of shops, hotels, bars and restaurants, it's the best place to go to get a sense of modern Istanbul. Taksim Square is also home to the world's second oldest subway line, the Tunnel. On the surface, an antique tram still serves the main street, giving its passengers a taste of the Ottoman period. A great way to sightsee or just get to your destination.
This is a pretty fun and dangerous sport. I like to call this tram hanging. But definitely a very good way to see the town. And the door has... Oh, I guess I guess it's where I come off. I'll see you later.
Walking down the street, there's more than plenty to catch your eye. So what's this then? Ah, it's ice cream made from goat's milk. I thought it was dough. Great fun for all the family. But the night is young, and so is Istanbul. Istanbul is bursting at the seams with vitality, and not just in its food and music, but in the everyday lives of the people who call it home. It's infectious.
Well, what can I say? Istanbul has exceeded my expectations in every single way. It's full of history, it's full of culture, but what's more, it's absolutely full of life and energy. And honestly, I would love to stay here a bit longer, but we do have the rest of Turkey to see. So, I'm Turan, and I'll see you on the next leg of our journey. Istanbul!